Hello, everybody. Hey, Geezer and Williams watches. Orange Hand, John. Hey, Bruce. Good. Some of you were here this morning, and what I was thinking about was the whole issue of what are some of the problems that watch collectors run into. I was thinking of a couple. For example, shipping from overseas. One of the problems was with gator bands, and most of the bands that you get are used to get anyway were croc or gator. And so how do you solve that problem? And this is the kind of stuff that I thought we could talk about. So anyway, but first up is the sound and the video. Okay, everyone. Hey, Mark. Let's see. Thomas, and that's something. Did we get offers on the watch company yet? Not yet. That was why. By the way, too, let me explain that. I'm waiting to hear from both Rolf Lang and from Wooten, Lannon, and Callan. They haven't responded yet, and so I thought, well, we'll talk about some other stuff until we hear back from them. And if we don't hear back from them, we'll have to consider other alternatives. I'll put it that way. So anyway, hi, Mr. Gumby. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad we got it working okay without a problem. Hi, Tim. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about since the whole process of creating a sort of a really high quality watch without any high quality watchmakers, how we might go about doing that. And we don't even have really watch movement designers. I'm sure a lot of guys, they have ideas about, what a watch would look like. So anyway, so what are some kinds of things that if you had to talk to a new watch collector, say, look, here's some problems you've got to be aware of, and here's some ways to solve them if you run into them. Import-export, simple. We save the site certificate, burn a serial number into the back of the band, and generate our own site certificate as well. Yeah, and that's something, man, the site certificate, they took probably the worst possible way, simply generating a lot of paperwork. And, another thing they could do, they wouldn't even have to burn it into the back of the band. They could take a little chip, the kind of chips they put into these musical greeting cards. They could put one of those suckers in there, and that would be very hard to duplicate, where, it's something like that. But you know what the usual solution is? Anybody have the usual solution? Well, you can get gator bands that are already here in the States. Yeah, Mark, you can do that. True. Guitar manufacturers figured it out quick when they seized millions of dollars of instruments. Now you can export anything. What did they figure? I'm not sure what the connection is there. And that's something. Usually what a lot of them would do is you'd say, just send me the watch, okay? Just the watch. Don't put the bands on it, and send me the watch and the buckle. That's all I need. And then in another package, you get a brochure about anything. And in the brochure, there happen to be a couple bands that just happen to be the exact ones for your watch. That happened to me a couple times. there are all kinds of other solutions that come under another category that I'd rather not talk about. Okay, would reputable watchmaker be putting outlaw gator bands on their product? Now, first of all, Mark, is reputable watchmaker, is that an oxymoron? I got some of these, I don't know. I get, when you look at some of the money behind Richemont, you wonder, what are we talking about here? But yeah, I think that, the one thing that um, the European Union has that's really nice is that they can ship stuff back and forth without a lot of hassle. Whereas just from Canada to the US and back, or US to Mexico and back, can be a major hassle. And so there's some of the things, that we can hope, that they have for us, but I don't think that's anything coming soon. Okeydoke. Hey, Truth Fears, how's it going? So that's just a typical kind of problem I was talking about. What are some other problems that you've encountered and you've come up with a solution to? And the reason I'm saying is that I might run into that same problem someday and say, hey, old, so and so had a good solution for it. So, what are some other things that you might have that we might run into? And I remember we're talking to people who are just starting their watch collections and they run into problems. Mark, one problem I think collectors face is buying a watch for the wrong reason. Mark, that is a good one. And it's one that we, what is like, I don't know. It's if somebody is a flipper, they like to buy a watch and then flip it and then buy another one and flip it. Getting a Rolex that's a great flipper's watch because you're not going to lose a lot except certain things. You're going to lose some, but not as much as, let's say, if you buy certain watches at full price and then flip it, and you can find a big drop. But one of the ways that you're not going to find a big drop that somehow people miss is that if you get, for example, a Parmigiani Pershing, okay, those things are so low right now, brand new, they're below 50%. And so you have a Pershing, and that's the more I look at them, the more I'm starting to like them because I know what the movement is. It's got a great movement in it. It's a chronograph, and if I buy one for, let's say, $5,000, I'm not going to have a hard time selling it for, probably less, but not much less, because what's happened, you bought it after the big drop. I think the big mistake is somebody who goes in and decides, well, this is from an AD, so it must be better, and I'll pay $20,000 rather than going to a secondary market and paying $10,000 for the same exact watch. I've done that quite recently, as a matter of fact. And if I want to sell it, which I don't have any intention of, I'm going to be able to get that money back, almost the whole thing. But going back to Mark's point, it's really, what are the right reasons? What are the wrong reasons? Well, like I said, a flipper is simply not to lose money. I think the right reason is because you really, really like the watch. You want to wear it for whatever reason. Like this one, I just love this watch. My little Harry Winston with a bio retrograde, and it doesn't get enough wrist time. I don't know why, but it's because I got other ones I also like to wear a lot. But I think that's the right reason. Now, one thing I think that's implied in what Mark was saying is that a bunch of something is really popular, and so all your friends say, well, this is what you have to get. You have to get a Breitling, or you have to get this, or you have to get that. Maybe it's not exactly what you want, and you get it, and then you're not happy with it. I think that's another thing on that. What are some other things along those same lines? India has a special case because they actually retroactively misrepresented a lot of rosewood as endangered to try to push companies to manufacture in India like they did with Gibson. Ah, okay. All right. Thank you. Hey, Blake, how you doing? Okay, let's see what's going on. I exported to Europe. No problem. If you export to US, major headache. Yeah. You know, one thing, the interesting thing, importing into the US, the customs charges are very, very low. That's a good thing. And there's no VAT tax. So there's no problem. You know, for some reason, I've ordered parts, a lot of watch parts from China, and I never had a problem. It takes a little longer, but then I get this is what I get a lot of my watch parts in. I get it in one of these things. These are the greatest shipping boxes ever, so I keep them. And they're very light. They're styrofoam. The watch part or parts come in here, and everything. I've never had any broken part or anything like that. And the parts I'm talking about are usually they're movements in cases, they're dials, hands, things like that. Things, you know, for making watches. So China I haven't had a problem with China. But I haven't ordered a whole watch from Asia yet. I always order different parts and stuff, and most of those, in fact, I think all of them have been from China, and haven't had a problem with that. I don't know. Has anybody else? Distraction while saving for what you want. Oh, Mark. Yeah, Mark Nagy brought up a really good one. A distraction. You're saving for something, and you're almost there. Okay. And then you see something else come along, you know, like, oh, hubba, hubba. And you go running after that. That is a problem. Hey, Eddie, how you doing? Distraction while saving for, yeah. Fave Luba watches. Those are interesting watches. What about a Fave Luba? Pretty good. I figured out how to get my kids to schoolwork, so that was a victory. Yeah, I saw this. You know, that's this funny thing I read today. It said you think things are bad now. In 20 years, we're going to have our leaders will be homeschooled by day drinkers. You know, that was sort of funny. Okay, fun fact: Japan makes a lot of musical instruments. NS something, shift to watches, right? Shift. Another bummer is if you pay a European customer, he has to pay a major premium. Yeah, that can happen. Yeah. Hi, Flippin' Zippo. How you doing? Hi, Riza. Could we save money by using locally sourced? We're not using goat leather at all. All right. No goat leather involved in this. But you can have a really nice cashmere sweater that you can buy for your wife, Bruce. How about that? My goats, next door neighbor goats, will provide you with all of the wonderful cashmere you'd like, but no watch parts from goats. Okay. Another problem I encountered is not knowing what exactly you're looking for. Yeah. Yeah, we're doing a lot of that now, Mark, trying to figure out how we're going to put together a luxury watch. I know what you mean. Yeah, that's something. I think that if you don't know what you're looking for in terms of, let's say, just buying a watch, I get emails a lot. Someone says, "Well, I'm thinking of buying this kind of watch. You know, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of a certain brand?" Well, the problem is certain brands may have a watch that I really like, and the other ones I'm not too sure about. You take, for example, if somebody said, "What do you think of the Ulysse Nardin Regatta?" Wow, I love that watch. That's a really neat watch. Or the same thing. What do you think of a Rolex Yachtmaster 2? It's another one I happen to like. On the other hand, if I get a thing about, well, what do you think about Breitling, my whipping boy, I think you got to check the movement, see what kind of movement they have. I'm sure there are alligator farms in the U.S., right? We have beavers, cows, etc. Don't mention goats. We can have all the brands made locally. Yeah, and that's something, that's a good point. We do. I mean, in fact, I would imagine that a lot of gator straps that are shipped back from Europe are, and these are sites, let's see, sites legitimate. It's exactly where they're from. Good point. Yeah. Okay, make sure that the strap is sized to fit your wrist. Make sure the watch dimensions are good for your wrist. Hard to know starting out. Yeah, that's another good point. You know, you get something, I may have mentioned this before, but a couple of months ago when I got our son that what was a Bulgari Octo, one of the things on it that they were talking about, things got a really wide strap on it, and what I read about was that the design of the watch was such that it's a tapered strap, and I had that watch on, and it was so comfortable. And one of the reasons was that it was designed because it was relatively, good sized watch, but it was that strap. The way they did that strap was really, really great. But part of it was this, was big right at the lug. It was pretty big. I think close to 32 millimeters or something crazy like that. Gator hides aren't as cheap as you would hope. Yeah, I know. There's a gator and there's another thing that's like a gator called starts with a G or something like that. There's a guy in Tennessee named Daniel Creek who makes bespoke watch bands, and he made one for my Langenheim with the three notches in it, and one of the problems, or not one of the problems, but what he made it from was another thing. It wasn't called an alligator or a crocodile. It was something else called a something, and that's another source of that. And dealing with Russian deals, transport cost is prohibitive. All the original cost of the item might be very low. John, yeah, I think it's illegal still. I think that there's I think there is a boycott ever since Russia invaded the Crimea, and then this big thing going on the border. The organization of states, of countries, said, okay, well, we're gonna put the kibosh on you. And I don't know, it's a funny thing. I was in Russia a couple of years ago, and my sister collects crosses. Okay, she's not especially a religious person, but she collects crosses. Well, the Russians have a lot of crosses from the old days and from the new days too, I guess, from the Russian Orthodox Church. So I found one that I thought, well, this would be a really nice one. And the clerk at the store said, well, you can buy it, but you can't take it out of Russia. So it was, that was sort of interesting. And this wasn't part of an embargo. It was part of I guess they had, they were losing all of their old antiques or something. So they said, well, you can't take it out of the country. And there are a lot of things like that may go on. Okay. Let's see, what else? What's Orange Hand talking about? Okay. Trying to fill all the slots in a watch box is another trap. Patience is the key to collecting well. Well said, Orange Hand. Yeah. I have, unfortunately, my watch case sort of got filled up, and my plan was not to get another watch case because I would sort of go overboard. Well, somehow my watches ended up in other places that found a home. All my travel cases started to get clogged up. Both of my winders have. So yeah, you got to be careful about that. You know, the other thing somebody said earlier, a big mistake they made at one time was that they got rid of a watch that they really missed. The ones that I've traded, even though I had a wonderful time with one in particular, I don't miss it. But if I had one that I got rid of and really missed, you know, that's another. I guess that's something else you have to watch out for. Um, Flip and Zippo, those are elusive Himalayan alligators. Well, they solved the Himalayans. So I mean, I guess in Tibet they solved that problem. Fortunately, it was eating all of the monks. All right, let's see what's going on. Let's see. Oh God, back to Rosewood. Cut it out. Hey, C Big, how you doing? Okay, Bezel World. Yeah, we had talked about that. Taking a break at work to watch. Hi, Finless, Finless. Oh, man, hey F, how's that? No, we're not having a Basilwood Rosewood discussion. It has something is he's talking about instruments. We're talking about something else. Okay, on your guitar. Geezer, you're a guitar player too. All right. My wife she had a handmade Indian Native American flute. She's into flutes, so we got some nice flutes. Okay, beware of the same thing with Cuba. Your stuff can be seized in Cuba when transiting to North America. What is the Cuevos and Sorrento or somebody like that? That's the only Cuban watch company I know of, and I'm not even sure if they're still in Cuba. Cayman, that's the one I was trying to think of, Mark. Might be a reptile skins. Yeah, that's exactly it. Was Cayman. Python skin bands would be a bargain in Florida. Yeah. Bruce. Yeah, they have all of their pet. They got tired of the pet. I don't know, man. What are people thinking? They bring home a boa constrictor and say, "Look at I got," get rid of that thing, and they can't, say, let it go in the Everglades. Okay, do you guys insure your collections? Boy, yeah, that was Eddie. That's a good question, a good point. What's my favorite leather? I don't know. I like Gator pretty much. I really do. It's sort of, I don't know, seems to go. But the other thing is that I'll take a leather watch with a Gator print on it. I think I've got some of those. I would imagine that my this one is a leather a leather with Gator print. Finish, Lude. Donald, different account on my phone. Don't know why or how. Still have a store. Oh, they still have a store in Havana that I went to a few years ago. Oh, cool, Eddie. Yeah, they do use ETA. Hi, True Junior. How you doing? I know. Did you read on how Breitling will eliminate watch boxes and owner cards and go green? Yeah, I didn't know that was Breitling, but I had heard that a number of watch companies are getting rid of these big, wonderful boxes. There's a good reason for that. Shipping, it'll kill you with shipping. I have a couple FP Journe, what they call travel cases. In fact, FP Journe has always had those little boxes. The ones I have, this is actually a small. This one I have from Moser. is relatively small as watch boxes go. And this one is, you know, this is the kind of thing that, let's see, it is. Okay, this is what you have. You have your all your docks, and then you have your cushion here. But you got a good sized box. That thing weighs a lot, and it's very awkward to ship. And this is something. This is a can and a fossil. This is a can that's a fossil watch comes in. Even this is crazy. You try to ship that thing, and I think the reason why is more and more stuff is going online. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know if Breitling's going green. I don't think that's the whole thing. I think it's going saving money because so much of the shipping is with the smaller boxes, smaller cases. The one I had from my El Lara was this beautiful, big, giant box, and it even had its individual travel case with it. I mean, it was fabulous, giant thing, though, cost a fortune to ship. On the other hand, how big is a watch? Watches aren't very big. And you could have a little flat thing in there, very light, but protected with bubble wrap. That'd work just as well. I think that's one of the things that's starting to happen. Okay, yeah, genuine alligator print. There you go. Tiger skin. Well, if you're a tiger king, man, that's crazy. Waiting for one of those tigers to eat one of those people. See, I heard you can get pangolin skin strap in who won. Geezer, what are you doing? It comes with a nice dose of virus. I bet it does. Okay, have you seen those George cleverly Russian reindeer skin? No, reindeer, good grief. That's Santa Claus's transportation. I wouldn't want a reindeer skin. Okay, I have a Python bracelet. What about overpaying for standard movement? Probably common beginner's error. Okay, there are Python bracelets. You mean like a Python strap? Yeah, but that some people like those too. I guess you could have. I would imagine wouldn't this either a lizard or a snake? One have to be on top. Sort of woven into a leather strap, so you got some stuff on it. Stingray is nice. Yeah, I know they use stingrays. You have to store your boxes in cool place too, or those fake leather materials inside disintegrate over time. I had two junior. I had this one. You should have seen the one that my Dunhill came in. It came in a canister with a window on it, and I opened it up, and all of that, whatever I threw, was probably exactly that fake leather had all fallen apart, and all of these parts were raining all over the place. But the watch is 18 karat gold, and so nothing was wrong with it. Okay, the Russian reindeer hide used by George cleverly was discovered by divers exploring the 1786 wreck as well, that may be why it sunk. I tell you, did you ever see one of the most interesting movements is one of the very first laying in hind watches, one of their movements, caliber one of the options was you could get part of it made out of Macedon bone. I think what they found was there's someplace in Russia that they dug up these Macedon tusks, and so that was one of the things they could have. And I don't know. I don't imagine it was a cardboard box you're sitting around in. I wonder what Rolf Lang boxes are like. I guess I don't know. Good question. Okay, they made straps using. Okay, all right. Okay, certain leather products can emit tannic acid, eating away steel. Oh, that's interesting, John. Do you know which ones? Yeah. Okay, waiting away steel. That would be important. 2 3 Johnny 2. Okay. I would like to try stingray strap. You can get those. Hi, Dr. A and B. How you doing? Mark and People Stingray. Dr. A and B, cutting corners. Okay. What a chat that you guys have going. Anyway, well, listen, I just wanted to kick around some problems. As soon as I hear from the other two guys, I mean, from Rolf and from Vutenland and Kalen, I'll let everybody know. Now, sometimes they may have sort of figured, well, they don't really want to do it, but they don't want to say no. And so you just don't hear from them. And so if that's the case, then we'll have to go to plan B, whatever plan B is. All right. So, hey, Mr. Gumby, must say that I have two nice Omega boxes that the watches came in. You just put the box away till you sell it or pass it. Yeah. Gumby, that's the same thing I do. I've got all of these really great watches, boxes for them. And because, and when people sell the watch, oh, I got the original box. Like, so what? If that thing it's going to cost a fortune. Anyway, okay, guys. Well, listen. Don't need watches shipped to me in grandfather clock size packaging. Yeah, exactly. Okay, pins equals spring bars. Right. Okay, got to run. Thank you all for coming. And I hope by tomorrow we'll hear. Let me just do one check and see if they came while we were talking. I don't think so. Nope. So anyhow, hasta mañana, and thank you again for coming. Everybody stay safe, stay well, and we'll survive.